the stage. And I was looking for something that they refer to as a working act, something that I could do on a regular basis, didn't require me to build something, and something that was, to forgive the term, easy to do. And I talked to my boss at the time and asked him about it. We were going through a bunch of different acts. And I happened to actually be looking at his wall, and he had a bunch of news clippings that he had done. And one of them was talking about him not wanting to eat light bulbs anymore because it started giving him a lot of health issues. And so I threw it out there as, well, how come I can't do this one? And he thought it was kind of funny, and so he was like, well, do you really want to do it? And I was like, yeah, actually I do. And he went and got a handkerchief and got a light bulb and wrapped it up for me and handed me a hammer and said, go ahead and break this and I'll tell you how to do it. And it was at that point I actually could say I knew fear, because I could not bring myself to do it, because I knew the minute I broke that light bulb I was going to have to eat it. And Roxanne, being the wonderful person that she is, actually took the hammer from me and smashed the bulb, picked up a big piece and stuck it in my mouth, and was like, there you go, with the smile on her face. And that was the start of it. And then I sought out someone who had been doing it for a while, and he gave me some additional training. And that was the birth of my signature act and the first act I did in the show. After that, it was just kind of one thing leading to another. I'd already started doing swords, and then one day I finally actually got my first sword down and added that to the show. And then pretty much any other act, as soon as we have an idea that we want to put it into the show, I take the time to actually learn the act and be able to do it. Just so that I know the ins and outs of it. Is it safe to teach to other people? And it also gives us a backup, because if sometimes people get sick or something, I can always fill in for it. So pretty much if you see it in the show, I can do it as well. I'm just not as good at it since it's not one of my regular acts.
How many times have you been to the hospital as a result of this?
Yeah, that's the question that everybody wants to know. How many times have you been hurt? Actually, the funny thing about that is I've only actually had to seek medical. I can't say that I've been to the. It's kind of a difficult thing. I'll say, how many times have I sought medical attention due to the show performances? And that works out at 3 times. The first time was actually with the light bulb. It was in Youngstown. I'll throw that one out there just because I actually met a gentleman recently who was at that show. I ended up cutting my face and my hand, biting into the light bulb. The glass was thin because it was supplied by somebody, one of the people who was actually there at the college helping us out. They brought me a bunch of light bulbs. I grabbed one, and the light bulb shattered in my face and cut my face and my hand up. So that was the first time. The second instance was actually a mishap during practice. I was practicing my fire breathing, and I was doing something called a fire bow, where you're breathing fire and then you actually take a bow the whole time, continuing the stream, and the wind changed direction on me and ended up lighting my head on fire. And luckily there was snow on the ground, so I ended up diving into the snow and covering my head and putting myself out. By the time we got to it, the whole side of my face was actually charred, and they were actually concerned that I might not even be able to keep my ear because it had burned on both sides. No skin grafts, no nothing. This is how it healed.
You're lucky.
A lot of people think it's luck. A lot of people think it's just the fact that I'm that stubborn. We'll toss it up, and then I always say I have angels watching out for me, and they know that I appreciate them. And then of course the last time was another light bulb mishap, which was actually after eating it, because that's the whole thing. Is everybody always asks, do you actually eat them? If there's probably some tape to go along with this interview, and you will actually see the light bulb goes in, it gets swallowed. It doesn't go into the bottle. I always make sure that I finish the drink off and everybody sees it's an empty bottle, because a lot of people will wash it back into the bottle. I don't do it, folks. It actually does go all the way down through my system. And there was one instance where, out of paranoia, because the gentleman who actually taught me the act spent a couple weeks in the hospital because of the act, and it's just something didn't feel right for a couple of days, and I finally went in and had them do a check to make sure everything was all right, and they couldn't find anything wrong, so there was nothing wrong, so it turned out that I was just stressing for nothing. So we can call it 3 times.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh, it's no trouble at all.
Thank you.
So, I'm one of the jams here at the con. As you can see right now, I'm enjoying lunch provided by the con. I was supposed to sit down and run a World of Warcraft D20 tabletop game. Unfortunately, my players ran out on me before we were able to finish up character creation. I know it's a long, lengthy process, but what can I say? I'm a WoW geek. I don't know. It's just the way things are. And, of course, there was also the allure of food. Food, games, always goes hand in hand. Especially when there's free food. Free food and gamers, you may as well keep your hands out of it. Because I can guarantee you, if you put free food in front of gamers and you stick your hand in the middle of it, you will pull back a stump. It's just gamers free food. It just, yeah, you're better off just staying clear and just watching the carnage. Yeah, I'm a bit of a smarty pants on camera. I don't care.
Thank you so much for